Maxwell stood frozen at the entrance of the grand mansion, his calloused carpenter's hands trembling as he held the invitation card. Through the tall glass windows, he could see her, Anita, draped in an expensive wedding gown, laughing with a man in a designer suit. The same Anita who had cried on his shoulder 3 years ago, begging him to help her escape village poverty. The same Anita who had promised to love him forever. The same Anita who had taken his life savings and disappeared into the city like morning mist. Maxwell could not move. He needed to see this with his own eyes. He needed to know if the rumors were true. He needed to understand how the woman he had sacrificed everything for could become a stranger who married another man without even a goodbye. 3 years earlier, life was simpler in the village of Umuofia. Maxwell was 25 years old, working as a carpenter in his small workshop that his late father had left him. The workshop was nothing fancy, just a wooden shed with rusty tools and half-finished furniture scattered around, but Maxwell had dreams bigger than the four walls surrounding him. His biggest dream, however, was not about carpentry or money. It was about Anita. Anita was 23, beautiful in the way that village girls are beautiful. Natural, fresh, unspoiled by city makeup and fancy clothes. She had smooth, dark skin, bright eyes full of life, and a smile that made Maxwell's heart skip beats. They had known each other since childhood, playing together by the stream, sharing mangoes stolen from Mama Daisy's tree, and making promises under the stars. "Maxwell, I am tired of this village life," Anita said one evening as they sat under their favorite mango tree. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and purple. "I want more than selling tomatoes at the market with my mother. I want to go to the city. I want to wear fine clothes, work in a good place, and make my mother proud." Maxwell understood her frustration. Village life was hard, especially for young people with big dreams and empty pockets. But the thought of Anita leaving made his chest feel tight. "The city is not easy, Anita," he said softly, holding her hand. "I have heard stories. Many people go there with dreams and come back with broken spirits. At least here, we have each other. We have our families. We have nothing," Anita interrupted, pulling her hand away, her eyes filled with tears. "Maxwell, I love you. You know I do. But love cannot fill an empty stomach. Love cannot pay for medicine when my mother is sick. Love cannot give me the life I see in magazines and movies. I need to go to the city and find work, real work that pays real money." Maxwell's heart broke seeing her cry. He had been saving money for almost 2 years, doing extra carpentry work, fixing furniture for people in neighboring villages, skipping meals to add a few extra naira to his savings. He was planning to use that money to expand his workshop, buy better tools, maybe even open a small furniture shop. But looking at Anita's tears, looking at the desperation in her eyes, Maxwell made a decision that would change his life forever. "How much do you need?" Maxwell asked quietly. Anita wiped her tears. "I have been asking around. They say I need at least 40,000 naira to settle in the city. Money for accommodation, food, transport, and survive while looking for work. But I only have 5,000 naira saved. My mother needs the rest for her hospital bills." Maxwell was silent for a moment. Then he stood up and stretched out his hand to Anita. "Come with me." They walked to his workshop in the growing darkness. Maxwell lit a kerosene lamp and went to the corner where he kept his toolbox. From underneath a false bottom, he pulled out a worn envelope fat with money. His hands shook slightly as he counted the notes. 45,000 naira, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. 2 years of saving every kobo I could spare. I was going to use it to expand my workshop, but... He looked at Anita with eyes full of love and pain. "But your happiness is more important to me than any workshop." Anita's eyes widened in shock. "Maxwell, no. I cannot take your savings. This is your future. This is your dream." "You are my future, Anita. You are my dream." Maxwell pressed the money into her hands. "Go to the city. Find work. Build the life you want. But promise me one thing. Promise me that no matter how high you climb, you will remember the carpenter boy who loved you. Promise me that when you succeed, you will send for me and we will build our future together." Tears streamed down Anita's face as she threw her arms around Maxwell. "I promise you, Maxwell. I swear on everything holy. You are the only man I will ever love. As soon as I find my feet in the city, I will send for you. We will get married and live a good life together. I will never forget you. Never." They held each other under the dim kerosene light, not knowing that this moment would be the beginning of a story filled with betrayal, heartbreak, and karma's slow but certain justice. 2 weeks later, Anita boarded a bus to Lagos with Maxwell's life savings in her bag and his heart in her keeping. Maxwell stood at the motor park, waving until the bus disappeared into a cloud of dust. As he walked back to his empty workshop, he felt like a part of his soul had been torn away. The first few months were harder than Anita had imagined. Lagos was a beast of a city, loud, crowded, expensive, and merciless to those without connections or skills. She moved from one cheap hostel to another, spending Maxwell's money carefully while searching desperately for work. Every 2 weeks, she would write Maxwell a letter. My dearest Maxwell, the city is very challenging, but I am managing. I have not found work yet, but I go for interviews every day. Please be patient with me. I think about you every night before I sleep. I love you and miss you so much. Maxwell would read these letters until the paper became soft from his touch. And despite having almost nothing left after giving Anita his savings, he would scrape together whatever money he could from his small carpentry jobs and send it to her. For food and transport, he would write back. So you do not suffer while searching for work. I am praying for you every day. His friends in the village thought he was foolish. Maxwell, you are killing yourself with work and hunger while sending your last kobo to a girl in Lagos. City girls are different, my brother. She will forget you when she sees city men with money and cars. But Maxwell refused to listen. He believed in their love. He believed in Anita's promise. Then, after 5 difficult months, Anita's luck finally changed. Through a woman she met at the market, she got a job as a housemaid for a wealthy family in Lekki, the Okafor family. Mrs. Okafor was a successful businesswoman who owned a chain of beauty salons and needed someone to manage her household while she traveled. The salary was not much, 30,000 naira a month, but it came with free accommodation, food, and the chance to live in a world Anita had only dreamed about. The Okafor mansion was like something from a movie. 3 floors, swimming pool, marble floors, chandeliers, and more rooms than Anita could count on her fingers. Anita wrote to Maxwell with excitement. Maxwell, I finally got a job. I am working as a housemaid for a very rich family. The pay is good, and I live in their house, so I do not spend money on rent or food. In a few months, I will have enough savings, and then we can start planning your move to the city. I am so happy. Our dreams are coming true. Maxwell cried tears of joy when he received that letter. He showed it to everyone in the village, beaming with pride. You see, I told you Anita would succeed. My woman is working in a rich man's house in Lekki. But what Maxwell did not know was that Anita's new job would change everything. Mrs. Okafor had a younger brother named Chijioke, a 32-year-old businessman who owned a construction company and several properties around Lagos. He was handsome, well-educated, smooth-talking, and always dressed in expensive clothes that smelled of foreign perfume. He visited his sister's house at least 3 times a week. From the first day Chijioke saw Anita cleaning the living room in her simple-made uniform, he was interested. There was something about her natural beauty, her innocent village girl charm, that attracted him. What is a beautiful girl like you doing as a housemaid? He asked one afternoon, his smile charming and dangerous. Anita kept her eyes lowered respectfully. I am working to build a better future, sir. Smart girl, Chijioke laughed. Beautiful and ambitious. That is rare in this city. Over the following weeks, Chijioke found more and more reasons to visit his sister. He would engage Anita in conversation, ask about her dreams, compliment her intelligence, and slowly, carefully plant seeds of ambition in her mind. You know, Anita, you are too special to be cleaning floors, he would say. A woman like you deserves to be pampered. You deserve to wear expensive clothes, carry designer bags, drive your own car. You deserve to be treated like a queen. At first, Anita would think of Maxwell and feel guilty for even listening to such talk. She would go to her room at night and write letters to him. Maxwell, work is going well. I have saved 15,000 naira already. Maybe in 6 more months, you can come to Lagos and we can look for a small room to rent together. I cannot wait for us to finally start our life as husband and wife. But as weeks turned into months, something began to change in Anita. She attended family parties with the Okafors, where she met doctors, lawyers, engineers, and business people. She saw how the rich lived, their cars, their clothes, their confidence, their power. She began to compare that life with the life waiting for her back in the village with Maxwell. Maxwell, with his rough carpenter hands and simple dreams. Maxwell, who would probably never own a car or live in a house with a swimming pool. Maxwell, who smelled of wood shavings and sweat instead of expensive cologne. The comparison made her uncomfortable, then ashamed, then resentful. When Chijioke finally asked her to be his girlfriend, offering to rent her a nice apartment and give her a monthly allowance of 100,000 naira, Anita hesitated for only one night. The next morning, she said yes. She told herself it was not betrayal. She told herself that Maxwell would understand if he knew how hard life was in the city. She told herself that she deserved this chance at a better life. But deep down, in a place she refused to look, she knew the truth. She was choosing money over love, comfort over loyalty, ambition over promises made under a mango tree. The letters to Maxwell became shorter and less frequent. Then they stopped completely. Back in Umuofia village, Maxwell waited. Days crawled into weeks, weeks into months. His letters to Anita went unanswered. Her phone number was switched off. The money he sent came back. Other villagers began to whisper, but Maxwell refused to accept what his heart already feared. Then, 6 months later, a trader returning from Lagos brought news that shattered Maxwell's world into a million pieces. "I saw your Anita in Lagos," the trader said, not knowing the damage his words would cause. She was in a big shopping mall in Victoria Island, wearing expensive clothes and jewelry. She was with a rich-looking man, and they were buying things like people who have money to waste. They looked very close, like boyfriend and girlfriend. Maxwell felt his chest tighten. "You must be mistaken. That cannot be my Anita. My Anita is working as a housemaid and saving money for us." But the trader showed him pictures on his phone, blurry but unmistakable. There was Anita in a designer dress, laughing, holding hands with a tall, handsome man in front of a luxury car. She looked happy. She looked like she belonged in that world. She looked like someone who had completely forgotten about a poor carpenter waiting in a village. That night, Maxwell did something he had not done since his father died. He wept like a child. He wept for the love he had lost, for the sacrifice that meant nothing, for the promises that were broken like dry sticks, for the future that would never come. His mother found him in his workshop, surrounded by unfinished furniture and broken dreams. "My son," she said gently, wiping his tears with the edge of her wrapper, "some people come into our lives to teach us lessons, not to stay forever. You loved with a pure heart. You gave everything you had. That is not foolishness. That is the mark of a good man. The woman who could forget such love was never worthy of it in the first place." 1 year passed. Maxwell threw himself into his work with an intensity born from heartbreak. He worked from sunrise to sunset, taking every carpentry job he could find, creating furniture with such skill and passion that people began to notice. Then one day, his friend Emeka came running to his workshop, holding a white envelope. "Maxwell, you will not believe this. Anita is getting married." Maxwell's hands froze on the wood he was planning. Married to who? That rich man she was seeing. Chijioke something. The wedding is in 2 weeks in Lagos. Big society wedding. Someone from our village who works in Lagos sent this. Emeka handed him the envelope. Inside was a glossy wedding invitation card with gold lettering. "Mr. Blood, Chijioke Okafor and Miss Anita Eze request the honor of your presence at their wedding ceremony." Maxwell stared at the card, feeling numb. Anita Eze, his Anita, getting married to another man. Not even a phone call to explain. Not even a letter to apologize. Just an invitation card like he was a casual acquaintance instead of the man who had given her everything. "I need to go to this wedding," Maxwell said quietly. "Are you mad?" Amika grabbed his shoulders. "Why would you go and torture yourself? Stay here. Forget about her. She has already forgotten about you." But Maxwell shook his head. "I need to see it with my own eyes. I need closure. I need to look her in the face one last time and then let her go forever." And that was how Maxwell found himself 2 weeks later, standing outside a mansion in Lagos, watching through the windows as Anita married another man. Maxwell did not plan to go inside. He just wanted to see her, confirm that it was real, and then leave. But as he stood there, frozen with pain, Anita walked out onto the balcony alone, probably to get some air. Their eyes met. For a moment, time stopped. Anita's face went pale. She looked like she had seen a ghost. Maxwell saw recognition in her eyes, then shock, then something that might have been guilt or fear. She flinched like she had been slapped. Chijioke appeared beside her, his face darkening with confusion and anger. "Anita, it is me, Maxwell," he said, his voice breaking. I just wanted to." "Security," Chijioke shouted. "Remove this madman from my property." Two large security guards grabbed Maxwell's arms. He did not resist. He just kept looking at Anita, searching her face for any sign of the girl he had loved. "Anita, please, just tell me why. Just tell me what I did wrong. I gave you everything I had. Is it I? I loved you with everything in me. How could you just disappear? How could you forget me like I never existed?" Anita's lips trembled. For a moment, Maxwell thought she might speak, might explain, might show some small piece of the girl who had promised to love him forever. Instead, she turned to Chijioke and said in a cold voice, "I do not know this man. He must be one of those crazy people who crash weddings looking for free food. Please remove him." Those words cut deeper than any knife. Maxwell stopped struggling against the guards. He looked at Anita one last time, this stranger in an expensive wedding dress who used to be the love of his life, and he saw the truth clearly. The Anita he loved was gone. Maybe she never really existed. Maybe he had been in love with an illusion all along. As the guards dragged him away, he did not cry. He did not shout. He just felt empty. Maxwell returned to his village, broken and defeated. For months, he could barely work. He stopped eating properly. He stopped laughing. He became a shadow of himself. But slowly, painfully, he began to heal. His mother's prayers, his friends' support, and time's gentle mercy began to mend his shattered heart. He started working again, pouring all his pain and anger into his carpentry. And then, like a miracle wrapped in hard work, everything changed. A government contractor came to the village looking for skilled carpenters to work on a massive housing project in the city. He saw Maxwell's work, the precision, the craftsmanship, the attention to detail, and was impressed. "Young man, I need someone who can supervise the woodwork for 200 housing units. If you can deliver quality work on time, this contract can change your life." Maxwell took the job. He hired other carpenters from the village, moved to the city, and threw himself into the work with everything he had. Every door, every window frame, every cabinet was crafted with perfection. The contractor was so impressed that he recommended Maxwell to his business partners. Word spread about the talented young carpenter who delivered exceptional work. Within a year, Maxwell had his own carpentry company with 20 employees. Within 2 years, he was a wealthy man, not through betrayal or shortcuts, but through honest work, skill, and determination. He bought his mother a beautiful house with electricity and running water. He sent his younger siblings to university. He employed dozens of people from his village. He became the success story that parents told their children about. Meanwhile, in another part of Lagos, karma was doing its work on Anita. Chijioke's lavish life was a lie. While Anita believed her husband was a legitimate businessman, he secretly ran scams, money laundering, and fraud that stole from hundreds. Luxury cars, designer clothes, and grand parties, all funded by crime. One morning, the EFCC stormed their apartment. Chijioke was arrested, handcuffed, and dragged away. By evening, news outlets screamed about his multimillionaire fraud. All assets were seized. Anita, once living in luxury, found herself homeless. She moved into a small, filthy room in Ajagunle and survived on odd jobs, washing clothes and hawking water. One day, a former acquaintance mocked her. "Your village carpenter boyfriend, Maxwell, is now a big contractor driving expensive cars, unlike your fraudster husband." Shame and regret consumed Anita. She remembered Maxwell's patient love, the one she had thrown away for Chijioke's fake wealth. That night, she thought about finding him, apologizing, and explaining. Maybe he would understand. Maybe he would forgive her. Maybe there was still a chance. It took Anita 3 months to gather courage and bus fare to travel to Maxwell's new office in Lagos. Her hands shook as she entered the modern building that housed Maxwell Carpentry and Furniture Limited. The reception was beautiful. Glass walls, polished floors, comfortable chairs. A pretty receptionist looked up from her desk. "Good afternoon. Do you have an appointment with Mr. Maxwell?" "No, but my name is Anita. We knew each other a long time ago. Can you tell him I am here? Please, it is very important." The receptionist made a phone call. Minutes felt like hours. Then she said, "Mr. Maxwell says he does not know any Anita. He is very busy with meetings today. Please leave. Anita's legs almost gave way. She tried again. Please tell him it is Anita from Umuofia village. He will remember. Please. Another phone call. This time the receptionist's voice was firmer, colder. Mr. Maxwell says he does not know anyone from his past named Anita. He also says that even if he did, he has moved on with his life and has no interest in revisiting painful memories. He asks that you do not come here again. The words were like a mirror, reflecting her own cruelty back to her. I do not know this woman, she had said when Maxwell showed up at her wedding, broken and desperate. Now he was saying the same thing to her. Karma had come full circle. Anita stumbled out of the building, tears streaming down her face. She had thrown away real gold to chase after fake diamonds. She had destroyed genuine love for temporary comfort. She had betrayed the one man who would have given his life for her. And now it was too late. 3 months later, Anita saw Maxwell one last time on a billboard advertising his furniture company. In the picture, he stood confident and successful, smiling beside a beautiful woman who was introduced in the caption as his fiancée, a fellow business owner. Anita stood on the street corner, staring at the billboard, understanding finally what she had lost. Not just a poor carpenter, but a man with integrity, loyalty, and a heart of gold. A man who had become successful, not by betraying others, but by working hard and staying true to himself. That evening, she wrote Maxwell a letter she would never send. Dear Maxwell, I know you will never read this, and I do not deserve your forgiveness. I destroyed the most precious thing I ever had, your love. I chose money over loyalty, status over integrity, temporary pleasure over permanent happiness. You gave me everything, and I gave you betrayal. You deserved so much better than me. I hope you find all the happiness I denied you. I hope your new woman treasures you the way I should have. I am sorry. I am so sorry. Anita. The letter stayed in her drawer, yellowed with time and tears, a permanent reminder that some mistakes can never be undone, and some opportunities once lost never come back again. As for Maxwell, he built his empire, married his fiancée, and lived a successful life. And though he sometimes thought about Anita late at night when sleep would not come, he never regretted closing that door. He had learned the hardest way that not everyone who says, I love you means it, and not everyone you sacrifice for deserves it.